Wakey, wakey, hands off sneaky. You know what time it is. It is time for your Saturday morning hangover cure, otherwise known as the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0, baby.
Your favorite politically incorrect entertainment extravaganza.
We rip pop culture apart while we try to get you ready for your next night of weekend partying. He is your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev.
This is hitting, of course, February the 3rd, 2024. Music, movies, TV, and streaming, dumbasses, we have it all for you, as we do each and every week here.
You know the format.
And you know what we start off with. Every Saturday morning, we start off with rock and roll. So you get the eggs frying, you get the bacon frying, get the coffee percolating, and we will regale you with tales from the world of rock and roll. The best new rock and roll that we can give you. Now, talking to your Uncle Dave here, how do you want to handle the three songs we've got? Because I don't know how we're gonna feel about these three songs. I have a feeling there could be some dissension, even though you and I are usually simpatico.
They're all kind of almost in the same vein of the balladish realm.
Yes and no. I will say yes and no. I will say yes.
That's why I said ballad-ish realm.
Let's start off with the one that disappointed me the most.
All right, let's go there.
We usually like to go best to worst. Let's go worst to best. I don't know what the hell Judas Priest was doing with Crown of Horns, the third single from their upcoming album Invincible Shield. This really sounded like,
what the hell were they thinking?
Poppy generic. When Judas Priest is singing about love,
then you know something's wrong.
Yes. What has happened here? This is not a Michael Bolton or a Christopher Cross song.
No, this one.
I don't know if I've ever heard a Judas Priest song where they talk about love like this.
Yeah, I can't think of a one.
This is just so different for them. Now
it wasn't horrendous, but
No.
it's not what you expect from them.
Correct. Agree completely. It's a little too poppy for me, a little too ballady for me.
From any other band that you would expect it from?
Well, this sounds like them in the 80s trying to create a hit song. Back then.
Yeah.
It's not going to work now.
No.
Not in this day and age. Because you're not getting airplay. Nobody plays new music anymore. But this song, Crown of Horns, probably would have been a minor hit back in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, back with the big power ballads during the metal years.
Right. So I don't know what this is supposed to be. I am very perplexed with the mixture of these three songs so far we've gotten from Invincible Shield.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Yep. Nothing is jumping out at me. There's nothing classic, nothing terrible.
No, they're decent, but it's just not what you expect from the Priest.
Yeah, it just doesn't have that extra level so far to me. These three songs, and unfortunately, I'd say Crown of Horns is the worst of the three. I would give Crown of Horns 2 frenzies.
That's where I was at with it.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with this one.
It's a little catchy, but it's a little too poppy.
Yes. Yep. And then, of course, we move on to the fourth single from the upcoming album from Blackberry Smoke. Now, this is an intentional ballad.
It is,
obviously.
Azalea.
Yep.
This really kind of harkens back early 70s-ish.
Yep. I thought so as well. A little bit of Allman Brothers maybe in there.
A little Allman Brothers America.
Yeah. Yep. Didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. Again, expectations, like with Judas Priest, you
They're a
don't
little
expect.
higher.
Yeah, Blackberry Smoke. I can see them pulling off a ballad like this more so than a Judas
Oh,
Priest.
yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. I'll give it a 2.5.
Yeah, I gave it
Frenzies.
a strong 2.5. Decent little number.
Yep. And again,
It's
taking their 4 singles in so far, albums coming out in about 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to it.
it should be a good album.
Yes.
I'm hoping for we need a solid album from start to finish because we haven't had one in quite some
Yeah,
time
2023 again was so disappointing for the most part.
for the most part.
So yeah, it would be nice to get a nice jump start. We've already had to deal with Saviors, which was hit and miss.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. The 4 songs we've gotten so far from Blackberry Smoke have been, for the most part,
pretty
positive.
decent.
Pretty good. Now we get into the legend. Mark Knopfler, of course, leader of Dire Straits.
Yep, his new single, Ahead of the Game.
Now, see, this song reminded me of early Dire Straits.
It did. This had
The
some
guitar
really
riff.
damn good guitar riffs, kind of the troubadour.
Yep. Yeah, it reminded
vocals.
me. And I was thinking, because of course we've got to talk about Dire Straits a little bit more here in a few minutes, but made me think of the eras of Dire Straits. And Dire Straits didn't have a ton of albums.
No, but they spread out.
And if you look at the first, this would have fit into the first 2 albums, Dire Straits, the debut, and then Communique. Before then, they went to the longer songs with Making Movies and Love Over Gold. And then, of course, they got to the poppy stuff.
When you got into Moving Pictures.
Well,
or not Moving Pictures.
No, Moving Pictures was third.
Third, yeah.
I said Espresso Love, didn't I?
Yeah.
Boy, I fucked that up completely. Song off of Moving Pictures. But then, yeah, Brothers in Arms.
Brothers, yeah.
And then On Every Street, the final Dire Straits album. But you got those 3 distinct eras of Dire Straits, and I think this would have fit very well in that first era with the first couple albums.
Yeah.
The Sultans of Swing, Lady Rider songs.
Skate Away.
Again, I can't believe I called it Espresso Love. It is Making Movies. That's the third album. So embarrassed. But I actually enjoyed this compared to what I have most of his solo stuff. And it's hit and miss. You know, sometimes he gets a little too folky, you know, a little bit too contemplative, ruminative, whatever you want to call it, where too mellow, it almost puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
Where this one again reminded me more of a Dire Straits song from the early era. So I will give this one 3 frenzies.
We are copacetic on this week.
Yep.
All the way across the board. Because this is a nice... This is what you would think you would get from Knopfler.
Yeah, and again, that's why I kind of look back at the albums I've bought from his solo career and listen to them, and I get a little disappointed because
there are disappointments here and there. His last album, when we saw him in concert, was really solid.
Yeah, but again, I worry about the fact that sometimes certain performers, maybe him, maybe Sting, I know you're not a big Police fan, but the group dynamic pushes them to be better. When they go out on their own, and nobody's there to tell them, no, that sucks, no, we should do it this way instead of that way.
Their egos get in the way, as we talk about last week. The aging rockers are shooting for their magnum opus. And it's like, no, stick with what you do well. Don't try and be some operatic, monumental. No, it doesn't work.
No, it does not. So when it comes to Mark Knopfler, by the way, I'm hoping he goes on a tour again, and I will badger you
Oh, we're going.
to go see him again.
We're going.
So I can listen to at least Romeo and Juliet without having some psycho nut job like the last time.
That Psycho Hoseby, she was awful.
And ruined one of the few songs I was really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Plus this time, goddamn better get Sultans a Swing.
Yeah, I know. That was the big one. I was hoping to hear.
We got money
live.
for nothing.
Yeah, but that is a dated song with all the references in there.
Again, Romeo and Juliet was really looking forward to hearing something from Making Movies. Not Espresso Love.
Not Moving Pictures. That was Rush, wasn't it?
Oh my God, are we really fucking this
all up? We're fucking this whole thing up. Moving Pictures, I think, was
Making
Rush.
Movies.
Making Movies.
Yeah, Moving Pictures was Rush. Making
Movies are still Moving Pictures. We're all out of sorts tonight, kids. We apologize.
What do you care? You're hungover.
And we're on our way to being hungover.
Yep. So, looking forward to the album. Again, hopefully, maybe get one more shot at seeing Mark Knopfler live. I would love to see him live again. One of my top 3 guitar players of all time.
Yes.
Behind, of course, the great Eddie Van Halen and Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yep, and love his vocals.
Yep.
That haunting tone that he can bring.
Yep. Now, Dave and I talked about doing kind of an informal discussion here about this new box set that came out a few weeks ago, Dire Straits Live.
Yes.
1978 to 1992. Now it's 8 CDs. So in no way, shape, or form. Number one of our rules is we don't really usually review live albums, greatest hits albums, covers albums. But
typically not. But when we hit the doldrums where there's nothing coming out, last year we did Tom Petty covers.
No, he had the live at the Fillmore, right? Wasn't it live at the Fillmore?
Live at the Fillmore, and I think we did the covers from it.
Right. Yeah. So, kind of the same thing here. Not a formal review, but just, number one, something for you kids out there to keep in your mind when you need some music to listen to. This is a compilation 8 CD set of all of the Dire Straits live albums that have been released. So we go all the way back to Alchemy, and then we've got On the Night, and then there's a bonus CD for On the Night. There's Live at the BBC. I mean, this is a phenomenal set.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Now, one of the things, the impressions that you take away from Dire Straits, if you didn't have this impression already, is that this is one of the few bands, kind of like the Allman Brothers, Rush comes to mind, where they could do a 10 to 15 minute version of a song and make it work and make it fantastic.
Yeah.
You can stretch out Sultans of Swing to 15 minutes, Espresso Love.
Yeah. Timeless music, songs that lend themselves to stretch.
Well, and you notice the key the key thing, the key factor in all of these that we just mentioned is the great musicianship. Rush, you've got one of the greatest, if not the greatest, rock drummer of all time, one of the greatest bass players in rock history, great guitarist. With Dire Straits, you've got arguably one of the greatest of all time on guitar. You want to hear
let
more
them
of that.
Play. Let them jam and express expound upon what they do well.
So Van Halen never had a song that they could stretch out because it
No.
wasn't what they did. Now, Eddie would do guitar solos for 15 minutes.
Right.
And he would
But
work.
that's a whole different ball game.
Right.
The
But they
guitar
wouldn't.
solo versus extending a song.
Right.
Two completely different animals.
Right. So, how much did you listen to of this?
Just a little bit. I did
Yeah.
not get much.
Well, again,
chance,
we were just going to do
we're spitballing
informal.
it.
Yeah. But
so I hardly scratched the surface. So I just hit like one or two songs, and
now I have gotten through most of it. It's heavy on the early stuff. Not a lot of the popular era. Not a lot of the Brothers in Arms era stuff.
but
Most
that's
of it,
okay.
and a lot of it's repeats. You get 3 or 4 versions of Sultans of Swing. You get a couple different versions of Romeo and Juliet. So a lot of it is the first 3 albums. And again, that's my wheelhouse for Dire Straits. I loved when they became popular. Like you said, though, Money for Nothing is dated.
Yeah, it's
been overplayed. It's
run
old.
its course. There's a couple of other songs on Brothers in Arms.
Well, the title track is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm biased because that was in Miami Vice, one of the greatest scenes in Miami Vice that used music.
Yeah. No, there's more on Brothers in Arms that needs more airplay. Money for Nothing needs to be retired.
Yep. And Walk of Life needs to be retired too.
It does for overplay.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
But now my personal favorite, of course, is Making Movies.
Making Movies.
Making Movies.
Not
Finally
Moving Pictures.
Not Espresso Love. That's a song on Making Movies. Moving Pictures is Rush.
We talk pretty one day.
But yeah, that's why I kind of dig this box set, is because it's all the earlier stuff that I love off the first 3 albums. For the most part, you get, especially in the last set, some interesting, there's about 3 or 4 songs where he collaborates with the late Phil Lynott.
Ooh.
From Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah, doing some old songs, doing some Mark Knopfler's always had that, he always pays homage to the old school stuff. If you remember the EP Twisting by the Pool, and that song was kind of a minor hit, the title track.
Yeah.
Where he had the whole 50s, early 60s vibe going there. So that's kind of what he does with Phil Lynott. But overall, again, my purpose here is to get you people to listen to Mark Knopfler and to Dire Straits.
Go back to the good stuff.
Yep. Now, of course, Dave and I are looking at going to see Lynch Mob on the farewell tour here, George Lynch.
Yeah.
And his guys. So we're looking at next week. If we're going to go see Lynch Mob,
we got to do their last album.
Yep, last summer.
How did we not review this last year?
Because we actually, at that time, had a lot of stuff we had to review. There were a lot of albums out last summer. Unfortunately, a lot of them were disappointing. But
very disappointing.
So last July, what supposedly the final Lynch Mob album came out, called Babylon. So Dave and I, in anticipation
of being able to see them on the farewell tour.
Yep, we're going to review for you 2023's Lynch Mob album, Babylon, next week. Now, of course, we talked about this last week. It comes out tomorrow as we tape already. As you listen, it's out. First new Billy Joel song in a long, long time. Turn the Lights Back On. Again, out now as you're listening to this. Not quite out yet as we tape on the 31st. It comes out in just a few hours, actually, on February the 1st.
Yes, we're going to be listening to that.
And I do have one other one. And I
more.
cannot believe I'm liking this dude's music as much as I have been. Because he always irritated the hell out of me. But I listened to this song after we reviewed Black Butterfly. Scott Stapp, 4th single from his upcoming album, Higher Power. I love the title, and the song does not disappoint. Dead Man's Trigger. And it is good. It is really good. I have sampled it already.
Beautiful.
So, again, a little bit ahead of the game, but still.
But still, we will give you the full-on review.
Yep, and then eventually here in the next couple of weeks, we'll start getting into some new albums. Blackberry Smoke, of course, coming in February. So we got Honeymoon Suite coming in February. So we will.
There's stuff coming out.
Yep.
We will
We
covered.
will always find stuff to listen to for you. But coming up in segment 2 here on the weekend edition, movies, and a book review.
And not from me.
Yeah, how about that? We're going to tie in this theme I talked about last week, the aging detective, the aging crime fighter, with a movie review, a book review, and later on, our TV and streaming. We've got a way to tie 3 different narratives in as one.
Why? Because we can.
Because we smart, Dave. We talk pretty and we're smart.
We be educated.
Yeah, that Dire Straits Moving Pictures
fiasco.
album.
God.
Hey, we both screwed up.
We both screwed up badly on that one.
And believe me, kids, that doesn't happen very often when it comes to music, but
Ugh.
probably a few too many Stellas.
Hey, we're doing this right after we did the sports edition, so come on. We got a lot that we're dealing with here.
But next up again, movies and books. I have story time, including one of the greatest, and I feel a little bit underrated, horror movies of all time. So,
we'll see if I agree.
Oh, you will. I know you will. With that in mind, we will be back in 60 seconds after a quick promo break.
Or less.
We'll be right back. Hello, I am James Cameron, prestigious film director. And since it takes me over a decade to make a movie, I've got plenty of time between takes to listen to my favorite podcast, Sports Frenzy 2.0, on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Stitcher, Amazon, and Audible. Hey, wait, I'm having an epiphany. I have a new idea. Summer of 2035. Blue robots from the future on a doomed ocean liner. Oh, brilliant. Where's Arnold? Get me Schwarzenegger. What about DiCaprio? Oh, what about Edward Furlong? We know he's not doing anything.
All right, segment 2 of Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition, dropping on, February 3rd, 2024, here on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy 2.0, baby.
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio. You want to give the kids the bad news?
Yeah, we just have a little more time with Radio Public. They will be going away March 31st. Disappearing with the likes of Breaker and one of our favorites to say, Stitcher, that we lost last August.
Yep. So you can still find us at all the other platforms. You still have plenty of options. So still no excuse.
Every week we tell you where to find us.
Yep.
And obviously you find us anyway. So.
Yep. And worst case scenario, you go to the Facebook page and there's always a link. Always a link to find the podcast.
That's right.
So again, as your Uncle Dave said, no excuses. Otherwise, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put an ad in the paper, and we're going to send Robert McCall after you.
That's right. You don't mess with the Equalizer.
Well, except Queen Latifah.
God, just get rid of that
Yes.
abomination.
Yes. I can't even watch the commercials for that.
No, it's just so bad.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
When you go
I'm
back to
supposed
the
to believe
original
she's
from
a badass that could take down any guy. I'm sorry, I don't. There are certain badass women out there. Ronda Rousey, yeah, she'll kick my ass in 2 seconds. Gina Carano, kick my ass in 2 seconds. Queen Latifah, I think I could stand a pretty good chance with her.
It just doesn't work. But no, we have the third and final installment of the movie version of The Equalizer with Denzel Washington playing the iconic 80s TV character Robert McCall, former CIA operative. This one, wow. You reviewed it a little while back, and I finally got caught up with it. And it's a slow burn. It's a nice tale where he's trying to do right for somebody that he met in passing. Gets injured in the process, recovering in a small, quaint Italian village, and becomes a part of the village. Just recovering and doing little deeds for the folks here and there, talking with them, becoming part of society's accepted, and then the bad guys try and move in. And you don't piss off Robert McCall.
Yep. Yeah, the basically organized crime, the mafia wants to move in.
Yeah, they want to take over the town to turn it into a casino hotel extravaganza on the coast.
Where they can bring their drugs in and out easily.
Yeah. So enter the Equalizer, and justice shall reign supreme.
Yep.
But
yeah, and Denzel's awesome. Denzel literally could read a menu for an hour and a half, and it would be unbelievably engaging.
Yeah. And, as he's getting older, he can still pull off the menacing badass look. And he lulls the bad guys in because he starts facially playing the weak character to sucker him in, where he starts biting his lip, moving it off to the side like he's not quite all there, but he's still 100% badass. Denzel plays this character beautifully. He always has, and this is no exception. And this is a great swan song for the character.
Yeah, we're not spoiling anything, so nobody's saying he dies, nobody's saying he doesn't die.
No.
But they made it clear that this was going to be the final Equalizer.
Yeah. You knew, it was known when it came out that this was the last one.
Right.
And it was fittingly done.
The restaurant scene was the best. When they come in and they start bullying the locals, and they don't realize that McCall's sitting in the back corner.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there, and when the bad guy catches him staring him down, he goes over to try and intimidate him. and
that's when the whole movie turns.
Yeah, McCall gives him a warning. Say, your timing is awful. I shouldn't even be here, but yet I feel I'm supposed to be here. I'm giving you the opportunity to leave these people alone. I like it here. I like these people. Go away.
Yep, and that's when the whole movie turns. And it's like,
it's the shift.
Yep. You pissed off the wrong guy now.
Yep. And the other little pieces going in behind the scenes, it works very well.
Yep. It's amazing the three Equalizer movies were so different, if you look at them all.
Yeah, it's a progression
Right.
of the character.
Right. The second one I wasn't a huge fan of because it just went almost over the top with the whole ex-military thing.
It was a little too much.
Right. The first one was the Equalizer distilled down to its essence.
Yeah, where he's just there and sees somebody in trouble.
Yep.
And helps out. Like what this one is on a grander scale.
But this one is more, again, like you said, it's personal.
This is personal. Yeah.
Because he has found a home. Finally found a home. And then again, somebody's got to come in and fuck everything up.
Yep, and he's mad as hell and he's not going to take it.
Well, I think when I reviewed it, I compared it to the old Steven Seagal movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
Because it's bare bones in that respect. It's like, you pissed off the wrong guy. Here we go again. Yep. I'm going to have to break bones.
Yeah.
Shatter some kneecaps.
Yeah. And
blood.
It isn't all action intense throughout the whole thing
not.
Like the Seagals. It's kind of a slower pace. And it's a slow burn, slow build.
Well, and they want to show how he has become ingratiated into this community, how he's become a part of it.
Yeah, how they accept him and he has found his place where he likes it there.
Right.
So, yeah, it's phenomenal. Good stuff.
So, you rating?
I'm going 3.5.
Ooh, you're going higher than I did.
I'm going higher than you. I really liked this one. I've heard some people say they didn't like it because it was too slow.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I loved it for that part. So it just resonated very well with me.
And we're going to, again, bring this topic back up again because this is part 1 of 3. Where we're talking about the aging crime fighter, the aging detective who's just trying to find a place where he fits in, a place to call home.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to digress. We're going to pivot.
And not to dumbasses yet. That's later.
That's another segment down the road.
That's a different pivot.
We're going to do Uncle Kev's story time this week. Now, I have recent movies that I need to watch, but
sometimes you find comfort.
Right. Plus, I was trying to catch up on all the TV and streaming stuff. Again, that's coming in segment 3. But this Uncle Kev story time this week starts off with a dick. Literally a penis. And let me explain to you how that happens. A few weeks ago, Dave and I watched Obliterated. And I still haven't finished it. To me, it's kind of a one joke show. I might eventually finish it off. I'm about halfway through. But
there's more male genitalia than you really need.
But one of the men who shows off his dick is one C. Thomas Howell. So,
stay gold, pony.
I guess I had that dick in the back of my mind.
Better than the back of your throat.
Oh, I knew I shouldn't have gone down this road. So I happened to be perusing.
You forget who you're recording with.
I happened to be perusing a website, not that type of website, just a general old movie website, and of course, what pops up? But The Hitcher. The original 1986 Hitcher starring one C. Thomas Howell, along with the great
Rutger
Hauer and Jennifer Jason Leigh. And I said to myself, I've been trying to get a hold of this movie for decades, literally decades.
Oh my God.
You cannot get the DVD. It is not available.
No, and this is a phenomenal frickin' movie.
Yes, and I think the problem is, as I found it, it's on Max, and I was like, hell's bells, I'm watching this. It's been too long since I have
I
watched.
have got to introduce the boys to this
I was
one.
wondering if the boys had ever seen it.
No.
And I thought you might have that reaction. Because Dave and I have talked about this movie on and off for a long time, how great it is. Not the remake with Sean Bean. No. The original with Rutger Hauer and C. Thomas Howell. Now, you watch it on Max, and you can maybe get a clue, get a hint as to why they've never released it on DVD. I think something is wrong with the masters, the master tapes, the master, because when I started watching it the other night, the first 3 minutes aren't just letterboxed, but there is a black border around all 4 sides of the picture. So you got this little tiny picture inside your TV. Now it only lasts
formatting issue on that.
Right.
Then.
So it lasts only through the credits. They get through the credits, then it gets a little better, where they don't letterbox. You got the black lines, the black on both sides, but at least the picture drops down to fill the screen top and bottom. But again, there's something wrong with the masters.
Yeah.
The master copies of this, because it does not look like they can fix it. They can enhance it. They can make it look better. So you're stuck with what you get.
Which is a travesty.
And again, this would explain why you can't get it on DVD or Blu-ray.
Right.
But that being said, this movie is so fucking creepy.
It is. You will be on the edge of your seat throughout. And the tractor trailer scene. Oh my God.
It actually raises so many questions. Is Rutger Hauer the devil? Now, the last 15 minutes would say no. But the way he can manipulate everything to happen the way it happens.
Leading up, what supernatural powers does he possess?
Right. So in that sense, is he above and beyond Jason and Freddy Krueger and, the guys that have to wear a mask? Or Rutger Hauer is not disfigured in this.
No, he's just evil incarnate.
Right. And we don't really ever find out what his motivation is for what he does.
Right.
And again, they leave a lot of things in between the spaces, in the gaps in the narrative,
for you to fill in on your own, to be freaked out like, holy crap, what the hell is wrong with some people?
Right. And it does not have a feel good. It could have been worse, I guess. Not spoiling anything. The ending could have been worse, but not by much.
Not by much, no.
This is not a happy, feel good ending by any stretch.
No.
But the thing that makes the Hitcher work so well, number one, I want to call out the director, Robert Harmon. And you go like, who? No, he's not David Fincher. No. He's not Christopher Nolan. And by the way, what he ends up being most well known for in his career, I had to do a little IMDb search on him because I was so impressed, again, watching it all these years later, despite the technical flaws in what we're watching on the screen. Great director. Does a great job with the camera angles, the camera shots, everything he does.
Portraying everything.
Yep. He is most well known for directing almost all of the Tom Selleck, Jesse Stone movies.
Really?
Yes, like 6 or 7 of them.
Oh my.
He directed.
Very cool.
Again, that ties into us with our love for Robert B. Parker and Spencer.
And aging detectives.
Yep. I will only go with a strong 3 for the Hitcher. Again, maybe because I'm bothered by the technical problems with not being able to clean this up, polish it up, give us a better presentation.
It's always been a strong 3 movie. If ever I was flipping channels and it was on, I watched it to the end, no matter where I started it in.
Yeah, I would give it higher, except for the fact, again, I find it ridiculous that they can clean up movies from the 50s and the 60s and make them look better and do the widescreen and do the letterbox and make it work, and they somehow can't do it with the Hitcher from 1986.
Yeah.
I would like to see a little bit cleaner, remastered version of this. But when it comes to a pure scare the shit out of you, what would I do in C. Thomas Howell's case?
Yeah. What would you do in that situation?
Knowing that you are being basically blackmailed,
stalked.
Yep. And everything is being aligned and set up to make you the patsy, to make you the fall guy.
Yeah.
For all these heinous crimes, simply because you picked up the wrong man.
You cross paths with evil.
Yep. Evil incarnate. And again, Rutger Hauer, unbelievable.
Rutger Hauer is good in anything he does.
And he can be
playing
good
the
or bad
guy or the good guy.
Right. Because I think of Nighthawks, another phenomenal movie where he is the terrorist against Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
I think
Lady Hawk, where he's the knight.
Right. Or where he's the descendant of Steve McQueen in Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yep. That, or you got the goofy, cheesy movie where Blind Justice.
Yep. Never got the credit he deserved. And of course, we're forgetting Hobo with a Shotgun. Never going to forget that one. Never going to forget that one.
Forget Hobo.
But again, kids, if you have never seen the original 1986 Hitcher, check it out on Max right now. Strong 3 from both me and your Uncle Dave. Now, some movie news before we move on to books and continue our discussion of aging detectives and crime fighters.
God, why did they have to remake Roadhouse?
I was wondering if you saw that.
Why?
And the director's mad because they didn't send it straight to the theaters.
It doesn't belong in the theaters. Only the original did.
I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this. We always discuss how some movies are sacrosanct, and you don't mess with them, and you don't redo them, don't reboot them, don't touch them.
Roadhouse is my guilty pleasure movie.
So just a couple months away from Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor.
God help us.
Well, in the DC Universe reboot, James Gunn has found Supergirl. House of the Dragon actress Millie Alcock.
Yes, we're 12 years old, people. Deal with it.
We haven't even got to my review of Ted yet. We're acting like a demented, perverted teddy bear. And more. This is just going to take us downhill. Universal has announced. Remember on the CW a few years ago, and they tried to redo Kung Fu.
Oh God. Unfortunately, I got
TV series.
I got 15 minutes into it, and
well, Universal's decided we need a film version
of that piece of.
No. Now they're doing completely. They're not doing the TV show.
Oh God.
Now remember,
there's hope for that. Then,
yeah, it sounds like they might be on the right path. Universal says they're going to do a film version of Kung Fu with Donnie Yen, who was in John Wick Chapter 4. one of the guys that Mr. Wick fought. So, martial arts
There we
superstar.
go. Potential.
So we'll see how that works out. And then, of course, remember the old zombie movie, 28 Days Later?
Yeah.
Well, now they're talking about Sony is going to
28 days after later.
28 years later.
Oh, for the love of all that's holy.
And they're talking about making it a trilogy.
Just, no, don't.
Well, they're saying that they might be able to coax, and I apologize, I've always mispronounced his name up until now, Cillian Murphy. I always said Cillian. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Cillian Murphy, they, now, of course, of Oppenheimer fame, he's already listed as a producer for this upcoming trilogy. They might bring him back since he was in the first two.
Yeah. We'll see.
You want to watch some trailers for next week? We've got some trailers.
Sure. Ugh.
The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I think you will love beyond all belief. Guy Ritchie's latest, starring Henry Cavill.
The Ministry
of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I like it.
Of course, we finally have a trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
I watched that last night as we tape.
And then have you seen the trailer for Monkey Man?
I have.
So
very intriguing.
Yep.
So we will cover those.
Yep. And now we move on to my book review. I cannot believe
Monkey Man, not Monkey Boy. One of our previous guest host on the cable access edition.
Yeah,
of
we're going back
Frenzy.
decades. Associate producer Monkey Boy. All right. We've talked about the aging detective, and it's been a theme here over the last few weeks with the Equalizer, Robert McCall, trying to find just his place in the world, a place where he can settle down and leave the crime fighting behind. So Dave and I have both now reviewed the Equalizer 3. We will get to Monsieur Spade in segment 3, but now I have a book that ties in. Now this book goes back about 6 years.
It didn't take him 6 years to read it, kids.
Oh, you and your Evelyn Wood speed reading. I'm about goddamn tired of it.
I'm giving you credit.
No, you're not. You are being facetious.
I am not. I'm giving you credit.
This book came out in 2018. Licensed by the Raymond Chandler Estate. Only to Sleep, written by Lawrence Osborne. It is a continuation of the legend of the great detective Philip Marlowe. Of course, Raymond Chandler had a series of books featuring Philip Marlowe, including The Big Sleep. Now, Only to Sleep is set in the late 80s, 1988 to be exact. It's kind of jarring within the first few pages to have Philip Marlowe reference Guns N' Roses. But Dave and I talked off mic about the aging of these characters and how sometimes the authors or the filmmakers will cheat.
Yeah, they'll take the character that was written in the 30s or 40s and movies done in the 60s, 70s, 80s later on, they'll still be in their 30s.
Right. And so Osborne does a nice job at the end of this book explaining how he did the best he could to try to keep Marlowe somewhere close to where he should have been age-wise. So he is 71, I believe, at the time of this book. Sent down to Mexico, takes a job for an insurance company. Supposedly there is somebody who has faked their death, trying to collect the money. Marlowe decides, what the hell, I'll take the job. He's retired. He's not having a lot of fun. He's just sitting there all day with his maid in his house and doing nothing except staring off into the distance. So he has no purpose. He finds a purpose now in this case, going down to Mexico. Twists and turns abound, of course, as we find out how and why the insurance fraud actually happened. And of course, Marlowe at 71 cannot do all the things that he used to do when he was younger. He now carries a cane with a sword in it. So that's his weapon. He does not carry a firearm all the time. It's now the cane with the sword in it to protect himself. But we follow him as he goes from city to city throughout Mexico, trying to track down the money that's been taken from the insurance company. And a quote at the end of the book, again in the explanation part, is phenomenal. So I got to read this to you. Describing Philip Marlowe. And this is a quote from Raymond Chandler, the original author. I see Marlowe always in a lonely street, in lonely rooms, puzzled but never quite defeated. And that's kind of the feel you get from this book, is that at 71, Marlowe doesn't know how to age gracefully, drinks too much, looks at the women, wondering, thinking about the past and when he was able to attract those beautiful femme fatales, and knowing that that time has passed him by. Constant impending doom. You know, is this going to be it for him? Is this his last case? Are we seeing the end of Philip Marlowe at his advanced age? Or will he survive to fight or at least relax for another day?
Or does it give him that purpose that he needs?
Does he get closure? Will he ever have closure? Or is this the long goodbye?
There you go.
I'll
is
admit
this another song about Mexico?
I'll admit that this, even though it's barely over 250 pages, it's a little slow at times because, again, we're following him from one city to another in Mexico.
And let's be realistic.
It plays
the early ones could bog down as well.
Right. It almost plays out like a travelogue, but it's very well written. Osborne does a great job keeping you engaged. And again, I don't think at 350 or 400 pages, I would have just quit. But knowing it was shorter, got through it fine. I'll give it a solid 3 frenzies.
Cool. Very nice.
And again, we will revisit the theme of the aging detective just looking for a purpose in a home.
Yep, we've got that coming up next in TV and streaming.
Now that we've let you into Frenzy Club, here are 3 rules. 1. You don't talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. You listen to it on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, and all other major podcast hosts. 2. 2 guys to a show. Kev Dave, the Maestro and the Conquistador. 3. 1 Sports Frenzy episode at a time. Until Saturday, when you get the weekend edition. Now get in there and let loose on some PC wussbags, will ya?
All right, by now you've had your eggs, you've had your bacon, you've had your coffee, you've had half a bottle of aspirin. You've had to deal with us old folk talking about the classic detectives, and we're not done with that yet.
No, we are not.
And if you people out there are not watching some of these shows, reading some of these books, watching some of these movies, shame on you, because there are lessons to be learned. about how to do the right thing, even when you're trying to find peace in your life, you can still be the hero. So we move on to TV and streaming. He's your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev.
We've got Monsieur Spade, brand new show on AMC, revisiting the classic detective from the Maltese Falcon, among other stories. Dashiell Hammett's classic detective,
Sam Spade,
played by the great Clive Owen.
beautifully portrayed.
They do a great job. Dave's 2 in, I am 3 in. They do a wonderful job of giving you a quick 15, 20-minute synopsis of how American detective Sam Spade ends up in France.
Yep.
And how he ends up staying there.
And staying there. Yeah, case takes him there, and you find why he stays.
And again, very similar to what we talked about with the Equalizer in terms of falling in love with a place, per se.
Yeah. Yeah, just happenstance brings him to a small little town, and he's found his niche. He likes it there. For the most part, the people like him. There's a couple of exceptions.
Yes, he does have a connection with local law enforcement, which is helpful in here in this particular story, as, of course, at the end of episode 1, a very unbelievable, heinous crime takes place.
Oh,
and that
very disturbing.
Thrusts Sam Spade into this convoluted mess involving a couple young kids, one teenager, one much younger. And we're still waiting to find out with the younger one, especially what part he plays in all of this.
Why is everything happening around him?
But it's great. It is great so far. This is the kind of TV that I love.
Yeah,
it's not made for dummies. The plot is dense. A lot of moving parts. A lot of different characters doing a lot of different things. There's a character
it's constantly bringing a new character in.
I was gonna say, I didn't want to spoil it for you, but in episode 3, there is a character that's brought in that you will love. Just the actor you will love. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, there we go.
And this is how the series looks like it's gonna go. Is we're gonna bring in all these different pieces, these moving parts. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
And Sam Spade's trying to figure out what's going on. Again, just like we talked about with Marlowe, just like we talked about with McCall in the Equalizer, they get drawn back in.
He's found his quiet place. He's just living life.
But he gets
counting down
back
his
in.
days, but he gets sucked back in. Yeah.
Yep.
And he's got to pull out all the stops.
And there's a mysterious painter who gets brought into this.
Yeah, that's a little bizarre.
You'll find out more in episode 3.
Yeah, but from episode 2, the painter's mom is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very intriguing. Again, this is not color by numbers. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot going on here, a lot of different characters with a lot of different motivations that intersect.
And you learn a lot of backstory.
Yep.
About how things came to where they are.
Yep. Very well done so far. Very, very well done. Highly recommend it. Then, of course, we move on to a different type of detective story with True Detective Season 4, Night Country, with Jodie Foster.
Damn, I'm 1 in and up in upper Alaska, where begins on the last day of having daylight.
Yep.
For their 6-month run.
Yep.
What a frickin' bizarre place. Weird shit everywhere.
Yep. You've got an outpost, a scientific
facility.
outpost where we've got a crime that's occurred. You've also got a mining company that kind of owns the town.
You've got a years long murder investigation
that seems to tie in to what's happened at the start of the show at the scientific outpost.
and a
There are
lot of weird
homages,
supernatural shit.
and there are homages in the first episode to The Thing.
Yep.
John
Where you
Carpenter's
see
The
the
Thing.
DVD
Yeah,
on the shelf.
And not only that, the last scene
Yes.
in the first episode
Yeah.
makes you think of it. Now, I will say this. I will say this right off the bat, just so I don't sound sexist. Because it's very difficult to relate to the opposite sex in terms of acting. We watch a movie and we relate to Clint Eastwood. We relate to Seagal or Stallone, or we want to be those guys.
Yeah.
Those are the guys we pine to be like, the men of action. We don't, we look at Jennifer Aniston on Friends and go, hey, those are nice headlights.
She's pretty.
But I'll say this. Jodie Foster has got to be one of the top 2 or 3 female actresses of all time.
She's always been good in whatever she does.
She's unbelievably good in this. Unbelievably good.
And I'm sorry, she is so much better of an actress than Meryl Streep.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And kudos to Jodie Foster, just like with Helen Mirren. They didn't get the work done. They didn't get plastic surgery done. They're just accepting the aging gracefully, and kudos to them.
Absolutely.
It makes them, to me, more attractive.
You don't have the fake plasticky look.
No, they've got the wrinkles, they've got the lines, and that's who they are.
Yeah.
I would rather have the honest, true person than, again, Vanderpump Rules with these fake, pumped up,
oh my God,
collagen injected lips. I'd rather have a Jodie Foster or a Helen Mirren. Right. But so now you're 1 in, right?
1 in.
Okay,
I am to be caught up this weekend.
Okay, I'm 3 in, so I will not spoil for you. But number 1, this so far is phenomenal. Again, just like Monsieur Spade, dense, a lot of characters, a lot of different things going on. And it's,
dude, the polar bear from the first episode is just weird.
You get a little bit of an explanation later on, but still, there's a lot that I haven't, through 3, a lot still to be answered, a lot of questions still to be explained.
Yeah.
But True Detective, I've told you, the series is phenomenal. All 4 seasons, different stories, like Fargo.
Right.
All together.
Yeah.
Now,
this one, we've enjoyed the first one, and if it continues on down, we're going to go back and catch up with the first. Now, the
difference, of course, with Fargo, even though Fargo's different stories, Fargo, they're all set in that specific geographic region.
Right.
Whereas True Detective all over the place. Now, the first season with McConaughey and Harrelson has a kind of a similar feel to this one with the mystical, supernatural stuff, whereas seasons 2 and 3 are a little bit more
straightforward.
Yeah, a little bit more just human people are, the trash.
Yeah.
And they'll do awful, terrible things.
There you go.
But kids, you gotta watch Monsieur Spade.
Night Country.
Yep. Yeah. One of the few good things, along with the Hitcher, to watch right now on Max. Now, I have my review. This should tell you something. I blew through 4 episodes of Ted in a night. Maybe it was just because of the mood I was in. Maybe it was because I needed to laugh. But I have finished off the first season, 7 episodes of Ted on Peacock. Of course, Ted going back to the movies with Mark Wahlberg. This is the prequel, where he is a teenager, junior in high school. And he's got, of course, Ted as his sidekick. And you have to, of course, suspend disbelief. Everybody accepts Ted for what he is, and nobody questions it. He's driving cars. How do his feet reach? You have to let it go to a certain extent.
Just
But
let it go, people.
I think I can't remember if I mentioned this to you on air or maybe we were discussing off air, but this is the format Ted was meant for. 2-hour movies? No.
Too much.
40-minute episodes where you can jump from topic to topic. This fits much better. Oh my God, so much better. Because you can take him in 40-minute doses if you want, or like me, if you get on a roll, you just go through it. The actors, the cast they've got is his parents, his cousin, all living together in Boston. It's just, I cannot believe this because I am not a huge fan of the movies. The show is so fucking funny. It is so. The third episode about porno could be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Don't get frosty.
It gets a little bit touchy-feely at the end. And you start to get into the whole, let's be nice and let's be tolerant and a little bit of sweetness seeping in where you just want to hear Ted say, fuck, 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 fuck. But I gotta admit, this is what I needed. 7 episodes for season 1. I hope they renew it. I would like to see them as they go into their senior year.
Oh God.
God help me, I'm gonna give it 3.5 frenzies.
Holy crap.
Again, if it was like 15 episodes, maybe I would have worn down on it a lot quicker. But 7 was about the right number. 40 minutes an episode, about the right time to put up with Ted. Good. The Christmas episode where Ted thinks he's Jesus Christ.
Oh, Lord.
Trying to explain to the priest at the church, about how, I came to life. I'm John. It just, the porno one, episode 3, you can't beat. Just because
there you go.
Some of us can relate. Let's put it that way.
See, now this is a good discussion point. Ted, not so good for a movie.
Right.
Perfect for a series.
Right.
We talked about Obliterated. Would have been perfect as a movie.
Should have been a Netflix movie. Yep.
The number 8 episodes, too much.
Yeah. Because it's a one joke concept.
It's the bones for a great 2-hour movie is there, 2:15.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well put. Because Ted, you can switch topics.
Yeah, that's what you need with that.
You can't give a talking teddy bear a 2-hour plot.
Yeah,
and make that work. But you can give them a 35-40-minute plot about porno and then switch the next time to Halloween and then switch the next time to Christmas.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think this format hit me just right as opposed to the movies.
Yeah. There we go.
I love Ted. I thought it was I'll probably end up watching it again. That's how funny it is. It just, I cannot describe to you how funny this show is.
All right, there we go.
So yeah, with Obliterated, I don't know if I'm going to finish that or not. I don't know. All right, you know what time it is. We got to talk about the WWE. Because, of course, Survivor Series was last weekend. One of the biggest pay-per-views or premium live events of the year. Of course, coming off the news that Raw will be heading to Netflix, which I still think is awful. Yeah. Awful.
And more controversy with Mr. McMahon.
Yes, Vince resigned from the board of WWE and TKO.
More disturbing
if you want to read, you want to go out on the internet and read what the accusations are, you go ahead. I did, And honestly, I can't look at myself in the mirror anymore. It's so shameful. This is, again, going back to something we talked about on the sports edition.
One or two guys ruining it for every other male on the planet.
Vince McMahon is a dirtbag scum fuck, is what he is.
Yeah.
If any of this, half of this shit is true.
Yeah.
He is a disgusting, awful fucking human being. And his buddies who
Laurinaitis.
Who helped him out with this or joined in.
Joined in is the key piece.
Absolutely disgusting. Let's just move on. WWE, move on.
Yeah, just write him off and be done with it.
Because this is the second time in the last few years we've had to put up with this shit where he resigns, comes back, resigns.
Just
no coming back from this.
No, there is
coming back from this. Now, in terms of what happened in the ring at the Survivor Series, Women's Survivor Series, Bayley, not a fan, but she gets the title match for WrestleMania of her choosing. And of course, this was interesting because you didn't know if it was going to be Cody Rhodes or CM Punk. And of course, it came down to those two on the men's side. Cody Rhodes ends up winning back-to-back Survivor Series. He gets his choice of either Roman Reigns or Seth freaking Rollins. This is what I predicted a year ago. Now, here's the ironic thing. I predicted this a year ago. He tore his triceps, right?
That he could,
Fighting Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, tore his triceps.
Are you serious?
Yes. So CM Punk will not participate in any way, shape, or form in WrestleMania because he tore his triceps. So now, ironically, Cody Rhodes gets his shot. This is where Roman Reigns
goes down.
Yes. Easy prediction. Roman Reigns loses at WrestleMania to Cody Rhodes.
And
finally.
God bless it, Rhodes better wrestle more than twice a year.
Yes, and they actually brought that up at Survivor Series. They mentioned the fact that Roman Reigns is getting criticized for not wrestling that much.
Yeah. Every other frickin' champion wrestles at least every other week.
Yep. So,
whether the title's on the line or not, they're in the ring at least every other week.
Yep.
It used to be weekly.
So, we could be seeing the end. The end, finally, 3 years of Roman Reigns' reign as WWE champion.
Which is a joke for as little as he's actually wrestled.
Yep. And the other thing is, you know what? A lot of these great wrestlers, Hulk Hogan, Roman Reigns, they're not good wrestlers.
No.
It's because they have the personality. It's because Randy Savage, one of my favorites, wasn't a good... Bret Hart was a wrestler.
Bret Hart was a fucking great wrestler.
The excellence of execution.
Add the personality and the skills to do it.
He was the ultimate package. He could wrestle,
Bret Hart
and he had the attitude and the personality.
Freaking-tastic.
Yep. Love the Hitman. Love the Hitman.
Piper had the appeal, wasn't a great wrestler.
Right. And by the way, Survivor Series, you're going to love this as a sports fan, held at Tropicana Dome, Tropicana Field.
Yeah.
Set an attendance record. They can't get anybody
to go to the baseball game.
Yeah.
But they
got over 40,000. Over 40,000.
For the wrestling.
Yep. I figured you'd like that.
Oh my God, that's funny.
All right. Do have one moment of silence. Don't usually talk about Broadway. Don't usually talk about the singing and the dancing, and all that stuff. But Broadway legend from Guys and Dolls, West Side Story, Cheetah Rivera.
Oh, a legend
Even I know who Cheetah Rivera
Yeah.
is. One of those names that, again, I don't go to plays. I don't care about going to see plays or musicals, but I know the name Cheetah Rivera. So,
Thoughts and prayers to her family and friends. Wow.
Yep. All right, you ready to play? Are we ready to play?
America's favorite game show. Red Foreman's Dumbass or Not.
We have 4 contestants, 4 potential dumbasses that your Uncle Dave, the Conquistador Dave Height, will judge. Are they dumb? Am I overstretching my bounds? Or are they truly dumbasses? Hence the name Dumbass or Not.
Let's find out.
Number 1. Culture critic Louise Chilton of The Independent.
Dumbass.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
I've read some of his stuff. He's a dumbass.
He is worried that all the praise and the accolades for Oppenheimer signal a troubling return to macho dad movies.
And the problem is...
Well, that was what I was thinking. But yeah, I want to ask this guy, what's the fucking problem? Dude, what's the problem? This is the same shit we get week after week from Scorsese and Nolan and Stone, where we're not allowed to have fun anymore. We're not allowed to enjoy an ass-kicking good time with some boobies. No, everything's got to have depth. Everything's got to be about depressing death and a meaning and LGBTQ.
I want to
racism.
Be entertained. I want to get away from all the bullshit. The guy's a dumbass. Next up.
We're going to stick with movies. And we're going to stick with Barbie and Oppenheimer. What do they call it? Barbenheimer?
Barbenheimer?
Was that their little catchphrase?
Barbieheimer? Yeah, whatever it was.
Well, we're going to go to the other side of the spectrum here with Barbie. One of the most despicable, awful, nasty politicians in the country. Adam Schiff, Democrat from California, basically implied, I believe it was on Bill Maher's show, that the fact that Barbie did not get a Oscar nomination for director or best actress, those snubs prove that the U.S. is indeed a patriarchy.
Oh, for the love of God and all that's holy. Schiff has always been a dumbass. I don't know why people continue to vote his stupid old retardedness in.
No, I'm not a fan of Sean Hannity, but I believe I'll be quoting him when I say, anytime you hear Adam Schiff talk, it's a Schiff show.
Yeah. Yeah, he's placating. He's a douchebag politician.
Yep. Okay, Dave, you remember the song Happy?
Yes.
'Cause I'm happy. Remember that?
Yeah.
Pharrell Williams, remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that song? Do you know there's a movie coming out about his life?
Why?
Oh, it gets better. Not only is there a movie coming out about the life of Pharrell Williams, the man behind the song Happy.
Does it talk about how he wrote it and the process that took to write Happy, Happy?
Oh, it gets better. The movie is already pretty much done. There's already posters out for it and everything. It's going to be told using Legos.
What the fuck?
Pharrell Williams biography coming to a movie theater near you in Legos.
What the fuck?
I'm not kidding you. I am not. You think this is some kind of fucking made up joke. This is true. This is
That has
true.
gotta be the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Number one, who gives one rat's ass about the life of Pharrell Williams? But they're going to tell it with Legos. Lego signed off on this.
That is dumber than dumb. Oh my God.
When we're done, you can look up the movie poster.
Oh, Jesus
and you can
God.
see I am not lying to you. Coming to a movie theater near you. The life story of Pharrell Williams told with Legos. Like Lego Ninjago.
No.
Like the Lego Batman movie. Pharrell Williams. 'Cause I'm happy. 'Cause I'm happy.
God.
Well, we're not done
now
yet, though.
I know
We got one more.
Now I know the world is ending.
One more for you, though.
We were promised Hollywood was going to fall off into the ocean. When?
Oh, wait. Wait till you hear this one. We're going to stick with Hollywood. Alyssa
My
Milano.
eyes twitching. My eyes already
Alyssa
twitching.
Milano. Remember Alyssa Milano?
Unfortunately.
Remember, she was like, what, on a sitcom? And then...
Yeah, Who's the Boss?
Right.
And then Charmed.
And then she did like a nudie movie and because she wasn't making any money. And then she married a rich guy.
Yeah. And now
she's
it's all the Me Too and she doesn't do anything for anybody.
Well, she decided to set up a GoFundMe page because she needed to get money for her son to take a trip to Cooperstown with his baseball team. So she set up a GoFundMe page.
Oh, come on!
$10,000.
Fuck her! She's got that sitting in the damn bank.
Yeah, she's worth it.
Pompous bitch.
I think they after everybody saw this story, everybody looked up her net worth. Just hers, not even her husband's.
Yeah.
She's worth $10 million.
Yeah. Fuck her.
Nope, she set up a GoFundMe page to help fund her son's baseball trip to Cooperstown, looking for $10,000.
Screw her, dumbass bitch.
I think we should help her out. I think Sports Frenzy should pledge.
I'll give her a penny and an upside-down water cup.
Don't you love Hollywood? Don't you just love Hollywood? But she says, well, I've done other things for the team. I've helped with uniforms, and I've done this, and I've done that. So I don't think it's out of line for me.
Let the frickin' parents pay for their own damn kids to go. Make them work car washes and whatnot to raise some money to offset it.
Well, she claims...
Don't be a pretentious bitch.
She claims the kids do the fundraising, too, but she still wanted...
No. Hell no.
Well, maybe she's still good looking. Maybe she'll go out and do a movie where she'll show her boobies, and maybe that can send the kids to Cooperstown. And then they can basically... They should have to wear placards saying, I'm only here because my mom showed her boobies in a movie. As I look at a plaque of Jackie Robinson wearing the sign that says, I'm only here because of my mom's tits.
To get me here.
Oh, see, this is what we get when we do back-to-back episodes every week. We get loopy by the time we're done with the second one.
Oh, Lord. And on that lovely note, kids.
Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you're over your hangover. Go out and do it all again tonight. We know you will.
Yep, and we'll wake your ass up again next week.
Yep.
He's your Uncle Kev.
He's your Uncle Dave. We love you. We will talk to you next week, kids. Bye-bye.